Okay, so on to question number 11. What is the Lewis structure of NH3? Okay, so when I find the Lewis structures of a certain compound, I first like to find out the total number of valence electrons. So in the case of NH3, for nitrogen, there are 5 valence electrons, and for hydrogen, each hydrogen atom has 1 valence electron, and there's 3 of them. So the total number would be 8. Okay, so to write out the Lewis structures, you first need to try and figure out which atom is your central atom and which atoms are your terminal atoms. So in the case of NH3, since there are 3 hydrogens, it is safe to assume that nitrogen is our central atom, and then all the hydrogen atoms are spread out around it. Okay, so after you show your basic skeleton of the Lewis structure, let's see how many electrons I have drawn so far. So every bond contains 2 electrons, and there are 3 bonds. So I have drawn 6, but I need a total of 8. So for the last 2 electrons, I'll add them as lone pairs on my nitrogen. So this is because since hydrogen only has 1 electron, it won't have any like lone pairs anywhere on it. Hydrogens will only form a single bond. So the same thing goes for like chlorine and fluorine. It's not likely you'll see them having a bond and like multiple other bonds around it. Okay, so we have 8 electrons. Nitrogen has a total valence shell. So this is the Lewis structure of NH3. Okay, so the junior tutor said, the Lewis structure of ammonia is 3 hydrogen atoms bonded to a nitrogen atom, which is the center, with a lone pair of electrons on top. The Lewis dot structure represents the arrangements of electrons, shown as dots, between atoms in a molecule. The atoms must follow the octet rule or the tendency of atoms to prefer to have 8 electrons in the valence shell. The individual formal charge of each atom as well as the overall formal charge of the molecule must be satisfied. In drawing the electron dot structure of ammonia, step 1, draw the skeletal structure of NH3 with nitrogen at the center. Step 2, calculate the total number of valence electrons in the molecule. So I like to do this one first, but I guess it doesn't matter too much. But they found it to be 5 plus 3, which is equal to 8. Step 3, to distribute the electrons as dots. So note that octet rule must be satisfied for nitrogen atom. However, hydrogen can only share 2 electrons. Step 4, replace the 2 electrons with a single bond between nitrogen and hydrogen. A lone pair of electrons will be left at the top of the central nitrogen atom. Yep, so this solution is correct. Okay, so question 12 just asks, what is an alkyl group? Alkyl group. So these groups are formed when an alkane has one hydrogen removed. So the general formula for an alkyl group, CN H2N plus 1. So you can find alkyl groups as like substituents. And I'll just show a quick example. So let's say you had CH4, which is methane. If it were to lose one of its hydrogens, it becomes the group methyl. I'll just have another example because we have time. Let's say we had a long carbon chain. And we had groups sticking out.